Hey everyone, this is Caitlin. We're going to be doing a short practice here at home. A couple offerings. If you have a pillow around, that's great. If you happen to have some blocks, that's workable and will be definitely come in handy, but you don't need them. And then last thing is if you maybe have a blanket that could be used for a pillow to keep yourself warm during Shavasana at the end. Whatever you need to feel kind of set up and cozy. So if you need to take a moment to pause the video right now and get set up, I'm just going to put the blanket out on the mat to pad my knees. We're going to start in just a moment in child's pose. If you want to do anything else to make the space comfortable, I'm just spraying a little bit of rose water. I have a couple crystals at the top of my mat as well. I find that when I practice at home, it's nice to have some of those touches. So again, if you need to take a moment to pause, get yourself set up, and I'll be right here starting in child's pose when you come back. We're going to be here for a couple of moments, so get yourself set up. If you do have a pillow and a block, maybe even a couple pillows, it might be nice to rest your head up. Knees are apart, hips are sinking down. Really allow your hips to be heavy and just sink. And let your upper body really relax. The weight of your head sink down. Feel some space between the vertebrae of your spine. And just really allow yourself to settle in. This is a home practice, so I'm doing what I need to make myself comfortable, and I encourage you to do the same thing. So if you've got a prop and it's no longer serving you, let it go. And just take a couple moments to find any small movements before you can settle into some real stillness. Let your belly hang. Notice how your breath is animating the space between your ribs. Notice if you can sink a little bit deeper on that exhale. And again, give yourself permission to find any small movements, walking the hands a bit further towards the edge of your mat, shifting the hips, and then just sinking. Continue to notice your breath. Allow your breath to deepen. And allow yourself as well to notice any thoughts that are coming up. This is a strange, unique time. Allow a deep breath to fill up your lungs. And as you exhale, maybe start shifting a little bit through the shoulders, looking one way and then the other, just starting to involve some twisting through the upper spine and the neck, very gentle. And slowly start pulling forward, almost as if you were a dog pushing forward a little ball, until you eventually come up to find your wrists under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, And just kind of sway back and forth. Find some gentle movement here before coming to a neutral tabletop position. Feel the length of your spine, your tail reaching back but not curving up towards the sky. Gaze on the floor. You can almost put a little teacup on the back of your neck here. Deep breath in and then start finding some movement. So just a little bit of swaying back and forth, getting a little bit of those wiggles out, checking placement of hands and knees. Nice deep breath in. I'm already just feeling the muscles in your body starting to turn on, just being here in this position. And big inhale this time, looking up towards the ceiling, tail reaching back this time. And exhaling, really emptying out, bringing navel towards the spine, finding that cat position. And in your own time, flowing between these. Inhaling, looking up towards the ceiling, maybe finding some of that shoulder movement and hips. And if you're ready for a little more heat here, maybe flipping the toes under and just hovering your knees up from the mat, really pressing firmly away, finding that same stability in the tabletop, but just with those knees hovering in the air. One more breath here. And then pushing back, lifting hips up, finding your first downward facing dog. And one full round of breath here. And then gently lower the knees back to the ground. Sink the hips back, reach the hands forward. Once again, find that child's pose. This is a posture that's available to you at any point during this practice. At any point during this time in life that you might need to just come down and ground. If you're ready to come out, slowly bringing gaze forward, maybe coming forward a little bit with the hips. Again, finding that intuitive movement in the hips and shoulders, just finding a little spinal awakening. And then slowly coming back, flipping the toes under once more, walking the hands back. And let's just take a moment here in toes pose. Stretching out the fingertips a little bit. If you've been on the computer, working from home, or on your smartphone, texting friends, loved ones, tapping out messages, just take a little moment to flex your fingers back towards your face and rotate your wrists. Just give your hands a little bit of love. Feel free to come off those toes at any point if that's feeling like too much intensity. But if that's feeling like a nice good stretch, go ahead and stay up there with your toes tucked under, hips right on your heels. And this time flexing your fingers the opposite direction, opposite of whatever you did last time. Take another couple breaths here, stretching out the bottoms of the feet. Rolling your shoulders back a couple times, and maybe just rest the hands, backs of the hands on the thighs for a moment. Just bringing the hands up, really considering the forearms, and then coming back down to place the hands on the mat once again. Getting ready to press them away, big inhale, coming up, hips lifting up to find downward facing dog once again. And we'll stay here in downward facing dog for several breaths, but really make this your own. Maybe bending one knee towards the middle generously and then the next. Maybe coming up on those toes once again before pressing the heels back down towards the mat. Really thinking about finding some length. And then just slowly walking your hands back to meet your feet. Finding a forward fold here. Again, rocking on the feet. Just letting everything hang over. Finding that length in the spine. And then taking a full inhale. Looking up to find a halfway lift. Hands either come to the shins or the ankles, and then exhaling back down to a forward fold, letting the knees bend generously before slowly rolling up to stand, vertebrae by vertebrae. Really taking your time once you get to the top, rolling the shoulders open, really grounding through the feet, rocking back and forth, maybe side to side, and perhaps putting one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Nice full exhale here, then inhaling, bringing the hands up over the head, finding a full body stretch before diving down, hands coming through heart center, finding that forward fold and widening the stance just a little bit here. Reach your right fingertips to the ground now while your left hand peels up to the sky, opening up the chest. Exhale, bring that left hand down and switch. Reaching right hand up towards the sky, maybe straightening the right leg, allowing a generous bend still in the left. Exhaling and switch. Once again, reaching up through the left hand towards the sky. Exhaling down, spinning the chest open, reaching that right hand up, finding that twist all through the spine. And then bringing both hands back down, finding that forward fold, exhaling fully. And then rolling up to stand. Make your way now towards the top of your mat. And deep breath in, full body stretch up overhead. And exhale, bending over towards the right, feeling a big stretch all through the left side of the body. Coming back to neutral and now stepping the left foot back. Turning the feet open at a 45-degree angle and lowering the seat, coming into a low squat or goddess pose. Opening up the arms, finding those gold post cactus arms like you're pinching a pencil between your shoulder blades. And then exhale, release, come back to stand. And this time turning now your left foot towards the back of the mat, reaching the left hand down and finding triangle pose. Breathing here, opening up the chest, stretching the arm to the ceiling. Take another full round of breath here. And then exhale, pinwheeling the hands down to frame the foot, slowly lowering the right knee and finding a lunge. Option here to pad the knee with a blanket, or if that doesn't work for you, just let that go. Stacking knee over ankle. Hands perhaps find the hips here in Anjaneyasana. Maybe lifting the hands up, finding a little extension here from the fingertips all the way down, opening up the front of the right hip. Bringing the legs in line with one another, breathing deeply here. And exhaling, lowering the hands once again to frame the left foot, gently raising that right knee and then just stepping that right foot up about a foot. So coming in, nice deep breath up, hands to the hips, squaring the hips, and then bending back over, finding pyramid pose. So maybe staying here with a flat back. You've got the length in your hamstrings, maybe reaching forward, fingertips grazing the ground. And this might be a nice place if you have blocks to put them up under the fingertips. Just finding a nice stretch in the hamstrings, breathing. And then extending that right foot back again. Let's find that lunge once more, letting the right knee find the mat, reaching the hands up, finding length here. When you exhale again, bringing those hands back down, letting something go. And then building back that triangle shape from the ground up, reaching the right hand towards the ceiling, opening the chest, reaching the hips back, finding length through the legs. Gaze is up towards the ceiling, breath is full. Hand is on the ankle, maybe the knee, or coming up towards the hip. Again, this is a great place for a block. Full round of breath here in triangle. And then let that right hand lift you up, coming back up, evening out the feet and finding once again that low squat. Opening up the arms and then coming up to switch it around, stepping right back up to the top of the mat. Full breath in, reaching arms up overhead. And maybe just hanging out here for a couple of breaths, reaching up one hand and then the other, just noticing what, if anything, feels different. Before bending now, reaching hands over to the left side of the body, stretching through the right side, and then stepping that right foot back, finding the feet at a 45-degree angle, and lowering the rear, finding that goddess pose, opening up through the shoulders here, lowering down. And then coming up this time, letting the right foot lead, right hand coming down to follow, and opening up through that left wing, finding triangle pose. Pressing through the edge of the left foot here, really grounding down through both feet. And continuing to breathe deeply. On your next exhale, bringing that hand down to frame the right foot and lowering the left knee, letting those left toes relax. Hands coming up either to waist or reaching up overhead, finding our Anjaneyasana asana on the other side. Lowering the shoulders away from the ears here, really looking for length from the fingertips all the way down to the knee of the left leg. Breathing deeply and finding openness through that leg, seeing what you can let go of any tension. And then exhaling, framing the foot, lifting the back leg, and once again, bring that left foot just about a foot in, shorten your stance. Start with your hands on your hips and then slowly lower down to a flat back. Maybe fingertips come to the mat. Maybe head reaches towards the knee. Or again, great place here to have the fingers on blocks. Bring the mat up to you just a bit. Really looking to find just some length in the hamstrings. And just really be breathing into any discomfort and not pushing into a place of strain. Want to feel easy in our movements here. Let's lower that back knee again. Find our next lunge, reaching hands up to the ceiling perhaps. And then exhaling down to frame the foot. And building that triangle now from the ground up. Once again, left hand is reaching up, chest is spinning open. Both hips reaching back. Right fingertips maybe on the ground or maybe a little higher up at the knee. And then let that left hand pull you back up. Find that neutral place before lowering into a squat, opening up the shoulders, really feeling a little grounded here. And then coming back to meet at the front of the mat. Big deep breath, stretch up overhead. And slow exhale, swan dive all the way down to forward fold. Let your head hang. Full exhale here, generous bend to the knees. And next time you inhale, step the feet back, find a plank position here. Bending shoulders right over the wrists. Core is engaged, pulling the navel into the spine, thinking about spreading. Finding space between the shoulder blades, really pressing that mat away. At any point can lower the knees to the mat if that's feeling more sustainable. But if you want to keep building a little bit of heat here, keep those knees up, not locking in the elbows. Yeah, and then we'll slowly lower our way down to the mat, to the belly, and just shake out the hips a little bit. Let the head rest. Let go of any tension in the lower back. Allow yourself to melt just a moment here. And on your next inhale, gently press the palms into the mat and allow yourself to look up, finding a little opening in the spine, a baby cobra. Exhale down, and then come on back to puppy posture. So this is a gentler version of downward dog, allowing the shoulders here to come away from the ears, find some opening through the chest and the armpits. Maybe you can imagine anything that's no longer serving you, any physical sensation or emotion, just sort of slowly sliding down the length of your spine from your sacrum all the way down past your neck, over the bump of your head, and just sinking into the floor. And just let that go. And then coming up once again to hands and knees, let's widen the stance. Sink back again to an extended child's pose. But this time, once again, let's find some movement in the shoulders and hips. So inhaling, coming forward. Let's make some circles here. So really pressing the hips forward, circling around to one side and then the other. Taking your time, going slowly, nowhere to be right now but here. Inhaling as you look forward, exhaling as you pull the hips back in a circle. Resting the head for a moment here. And return to your breath. Observe the way that it moves your body. And let your breath bring you back up to hands and knees. And if it feels comfortable, lower your seat right onto your heels. So letting those toes relax this time. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And just tune in and feel that breath moving through your body right now. Slowly now, we're going to transition from the ground into another low posture to malasana or garland pose. I don't mind getting into it right from the ground, but if it's more comfortable for you to stand up and then lower, by all means. I'm also going to demonstrate for a moment here just with the block, if you want to sit on a block of the tall face. But if your hips allow it, just sinking down, letting your rear kind of sink down between your feet and gently pressing your elbows into your knees, hands at heart center, and Anjali Mudra, each hand pressing into the other. Feeling here both grounding down as well as an opening across the collarbones. And then gently release that and shifting the weight over to one side, coming up on one toe, stretching the other toes out, finding this deep side lunge here, Skandasana, maybe opening up again, just like we did in triangle, extending one arm up to the sky, and then coming back down and shifting right over from one side to the other, coming now onto the left leg, letting the left fingertips stay on the floor, reaching the right fingertips up, spinning chest open. And just playing with that feeling of both being grounded down and also opening up. And then coming towards the middle, finding a nice wide-legged forward fold. Maybe bringing a block under the head. And then inhaling, finding a flat back, and then exhaling down once again. If you've got an inversion practice here, maybe lowering your head to the floor just for a moment. We'll just be here for another breath or so. To release, just heel toeing the feet together until they're just about parallel once again. Letting a generous bend come to the knees, really trying to release any tension in the lower back before slowly rolling up to stand, letting the hands come along for the ride, reaching up for one last full standing, full body stretch. And then exhaling, again, option to perhaps place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And once you feel satisfied with the full round of breath, slowly make your way back down to the mat. Invitation here to take that blanket, if you have one, maybe roll it up and place it underneath the knees for support. A pillow could be nice here as well, also some blocks. And just get yourself into a comfortable seat with the legs extended, and maybe just bring the hands back behind you, just kind of a casual position. Maybe let go altogether of the idea of a specific asana or posture. Just find a little free movement here, bringing one hand up to the ceiling and then the next. Just finding some intuitive movements to just do some last little opening through the chest before reaching the arms forward and slowly rolling back down to the mat. Finding a little bit of core activation here, and then just letting it all go. Bringing the feet up and then down here, wiggling the hips out, getting that support really comfortable underneath the knees. Let go of any tension through the jaw. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Let your palms face the ceiling, your toes spill out. Just allow your body to sink. Take a deep breath and start to bring back some small movements, stretching the arms up overhead or rolling the ankles, wiggling the legs around. And perhaps just turn over to one side. Take one more small moment with yourself before returning to the world. And gently come up and find one last comfortable position, a seat, maybe up on a blanket or a pillow. And let the hands just gently rest on the knees, palms facing down or facing up, whatever feels most comfortable. Or last option, to put one hand on your heart and one on your belly. The writer and grief expert David Kessler describes this moment as one in which we are feeling anticipatory grief. Our primitive mind knows something bad is happening, but you can't see it. Anticipatory grief is the mind going to the future and imagining the worst. To calm yourself, you want to come into the present. Thank you for taking a moment to come into the present with me. Om Shanti, everybody. Peace.